I've never loved a gun so much.
Pawn Stars is an American reality television series aimed at satisfying the universal need for audiences hoping to sate their curiosity about pawn shops and thrift stores all over the world, albeit in a rather different city than most people live in. Walking through the aisles of a secondhand store, one can't perhaps help but wonder what kind of stories make up the history of certain items. How did these items end up in the store, and what significance did they have for their owner? If questions like these intrigue you, then by chance, you are most likely a dedicated fan of Pawn Stars, or would be once you tune in for an episode. Regardless, Pawn Stars is one of the most successful reality shows on television, becoming the most popular show aired on the History Channel, and the second most watched reality show in general, falling only slightly behind the popularity of Jersey Shore, but seems equally as entertaining. Produced by Left Field Pictures, Pawn Stars follows the daily activities of the Las Vegas world-famous gold and silver pawn shop and its employees as they barter and appraise the many odd items carried or dragged into the store. As per usual, the narrator of any given episode recounts the history of each item, giving the audience all the available information on the artifacts which the shop might buy up and some that aren't bought. The shop was originally founded in 1989 by the family patriarch, Richard Harrison, known on the show as Old Man. But since his unfortunate passing, Richard's son Rick and his grandson Corey have taken over the shop. Aside from the normal features of the show, some focus also falls on the personal relationships and at times their conflicts of the shop's staff, providing entertainment for some of the audience members who have less of an interest in the daily activities of a pawnbroker. The major cast includes the leading Harrison boys, father and son Rick and Corey, as well as Corey's best friend, Austin Chumlee Russell. Other featured stars on the show include experts and consultants on various specialties, which range from automobiles to historical art. In fact, just about anything imaginable, and in some cases unimaginable. Several of the regular consultants on the show have gained their own series, who include Rick Dale from American Restoration and Danny Coker from Counting Cars. Pawn Stars debuted in 2009, and since rising to astounding popularity, has completed a total of 16 seasons during its long 12-year run on television. Now it has returned for a 17th season, which, according to Rick's Instagram account, will feature the cast traveling the world in search of valuable and rare artifacts to sell in their world-famous pawn shop. However, with the new season kicking off, fans seem concerned about the inclusion of Chumlee, who, according to rumors on the internet, might have been fired. While Austin's position on the show may have always been disputed, without his comical presence in Pawn Stars, things just won't be the same. For those of you hoping to find the truth behind these rumors, we'll take a look back at Chumlee's most memorable moments and try to find out if Rick really has had enough of Austin. Chumlee initially appeared in the show in the first season as an extra, often showing his face working part-time and working behind the scenes of the shop. As a childhood friend of Corey Harrison, Chumlee landed a job at the pawn shop 5 years before official filming of the series began, and although not part of the original cast, he eventually earned his place in front of the cameras. Despite not being a model employee, Chumlee nonetheless earned the favor of viewers, which ultimately made him an irreplaceable member of the featured cast. Initially, Austin was given very little responsibility in the shop, most probably hired to literally only do some of the lifting, but after proving his appraising skills in his area of expertise, Richard gave him more responsibilities and to become a permanent member of the primary staff. Unsurprisingly, his areas of expertise include sports fashion, video gaming, and pinball machines, and as can be expected of an apparently underachieving lazy greaseball. Fortunately, putting Chumlee in full view of the cameras paid off, as his comic relief and often being the butt of everyone's jokes quickly won over the viewers and might even have generated an increase in viewership. Though despite his popularity, there are several reasons why Austin's place as both the star of the series and an employee of the pawn shop could be disputed. Not only can he be rather irresponsible, but Austin also tends to be clumsy. In one instance, a customer pawned a valuable musical instrument at the shop, fully intent on resuming it and paying off his debt. Chumlee was placed in charge of storing the said item, but unfortunately somehow ended up damaging the sensitive piece beyond repair. Instead of informing his superior, Chumlee kept quiet about it, probably hoping that the owner wouldn't return to claim it, though his hopes were in vain. When the owner returned, Rick made the embarrassing discovery, and in the end, the shop had to reimburse the client for the damage. While most employees would get fired on the spot, it seems Chumlee scraped by because of his popularity with the viewers. To make matters even worse for him, in 2016, Austin landed in serious trouble with the law, the kind of trouble that might cost any other person their job and social life. Allegations of sexual assault against Chumlee caused Las Vegas police to raid his home. To date, The person or persons accusing him of sexual assault have remained anonymous, and so the charges against him have since been dropped, apparently for lack of evidence. However, it was the discoveries at Austin's residence that caused a serious brush with the law. When searching his home, police discovered unlicensed firearms, various narcotics which included Xanax, marijuana, and crystal meth, as well as traces of cocaine, which resulted in police arresting and charging Chumlee on several felonies. After posting bail set at $62,000, Austin was released. But just 2 months later, he once again appeared in court on other felony charges. Ultimately, Chumlee pleaded guilty to a felony of owning illegal firearms and a misdemeanor of drug-related charges. Fortunately, the reality star didn't have to do time behind bars, receiving 3 years on probation and court-ordered counseling. His probation period ended in 2019, and perhaps surprisingly, his legal troubles didn't cost him his place in the show. While the History Channel might not be as strict as Discovery, one would think at least that Rick would hold Austin accountable for his felonious deeds. Of course, as an enterprising entertainer, Rick would obviously put the success of Pawn Stars above the moral issue. Nonetheless, recent rumors surfaced on the internet suggesting that after everything Austin has done, Rick has finally had enough and given Chumlee the sack. Despite the rumors, it appears that Austin remains a member of the Pawn Stars cast, as he can be seen traveling the globe with his colleagues in the latest season of the series. This made fans and followers of the popular show question the veracity of these rumors. While the rumors caused heated discussions on social media, Chumlee released a now-deleted post on his Instagram account, most likely hoping to nip speculations in the bud. In the post, Chumlee frankly and nonchalantly questions Rick about the rumors, asking him if he really fired him from the shop and the show. For those who tend to like Chumlee, for whatever reason, Rick announced the good news that Chumlee has not been given the sack. However, Austin continued to push the subject, asking Rick if he ever wanted to fire Chumlee if he could. Of course, Rick answered honestly, saying that at times he intended to, but added that both the staff at Gold and Silver Pawn Shop as well as his adoring fans loved him too much to see him go. Thus, it is safe to say that despite the many times Austin should have earned it, he hasn't been kicked off the show. His marriage may have dissolved. Chumlee might have been able to keep his job after years of being somewhat of a menace and a felon, but it seems that his marriage didn't survive all the aforementioned troubles. In 2019, Austin announced his engagement to Olivia Radman, and in August the same year, they tied the knot in a ceremony hosted in Hawaii. However, in recent times, rumors surfaced that suggested the pair might have gone their separate ways. Recently, Austin began removing the sweet and romantic pictures he once posted on Instagram about his romance with Olivia, making his fans and followers question his motives. Of course, Austin replied in what can only be considered true Chumlee fashion when asked about his recent activity on social media, which went as far as completely removing his profile on Instagram. Chumlee responded with the simple, because he wanted to delete everything. While no official announcement reached the public from either Austin or Olivia, nor any mention on the show, fans fear the worst for Chumlee's relationship with his wife. For those of you who can't get enough of Pawn Stars or Chumlee and the rest of the cast, feel free to catch up on the latest episodes of the 17th seasons. According to most reports, Chumlee is still very much a part of the show, and since the series took on a new angle to artifact collecting, appraisal, and sale, it promises to be even more entertaining than previous series.
Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.